Despite the uncertainty revolving around Manchester United's managerial situation next season, the Red Devils have gone ahead to identify their ideal summer targets ahead of the transfer window. Welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. 𝐵𝐷𝐾𝐒 is my name. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Thank you to all those that have been watching our content, although it has been coming in bits. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for those that have turned on their notifications. And if you're new, I do encourage you to subscribe to the channel and also turn on that notification bell so that you can be notified once we drop a new video. Anyways, welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be setting our focus on Manchester United, where, in spite of being unsure whether it will be Erik ten Hag in charge next season, or they will have to let him go and start a new chapter with a new manager, Manchester United have gone ahead to identify some of their ideal summer transfer targets ahead of next season. Reports from Old Trafford confirm it that they do need quite a number of reinforcements into their squad ahead of next campaign. There are concerns over the goalkeeping position, but because Andre Onana has stuck his gloves out, it is not too much of a worry for the Red Devils. Nonetheless, it has been suggested in some circles that they can consider bringing back David De Gea to offer some bit of competition to Andre Onana, who we all know can be complacent sometimes. Ever since leaving the club last summer, David De Gea has yet to find a new home. He has been doing his individual trainings to stay fit, hoping that maybe something will come his way. And it wouldn't be too bad an idea for David De Gea, perhaps, to return to Manchester United as a second goalkeeper to offer that sort of competition to Andre Onana. Away from the goalkeeping situation, we turn our eyes on the left back. Now, at left back, last summer they did sign Sergio Reguilón on loan from Tottenham, but had to cut that loan spell short in January last season and let him return to Tottenham because they thought it wasn't working out. Eventually, he ended up at Brentford on loan still, where he concluded the season, but the Red Devils on the other side remained with Luke Shaw, who we all know has struggled with injuries that date as far back as the spell of Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. Ever since then, they've had to play their Aaron Wan-Bissaka, although we know him as a right back. Sometimes they put their Diogo Dalot, basically gambled through it all. So it is a priority position for Manchester United, and they have identified Wolves left back in Ryan Ait-Nouri. The 23-year-old Algerian international is a wanted man at Old Trafford. For about a fee of about 30 to 35 million pounds, could be enough to perhaps seal the deal for the Red Devils and see Ryan Ait-Nouri switch things up from Mourinho to Old Trafford. At right back, where they do have Diogo Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been questioned not for his lack of defensive prowess, but rather the offensive side of his game. Manchester United are looking to have that kind of sort of hybrid right back player, more like a Trent Alexander-Arnold. Very good offensively, although the same cannot be said about his defensive duties. Then that's when the option of Diogo Dalot comes in. He's a 50-50 for you on both fronts, defensively and offensively. On a good day, he can show signs of a world-class player. Nonetheless, they do think that perhaps they are open to letting go of Aaron Wan-Bissaka should interest come, and the interest is there from multiple clubs, including his parent club in Crystal Palace, where he came a couple of years back to join Manchester United for about 15 million pounds. So, at the right back position, they have identified Bayer Leverkusen's Jeremy Frimpong. The 23-year-old is available to leave Bayer Leverkusen this summer. Although Bayer Leverkusen wouldn't want to let him go, it is apparent that the player would want a move at this point in time. The 23 Dutch international says he would like to explore his options and has since refused to put pen to paper on a new contract at Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Manchester United are interested in the Dutch right back, but will face stiff competition from clubs like Bayern Munich as well as Real Madrid, who are both interested in the signature of 𝐵𝐺𝐕 Frimpong. So, Manchester United fans, remember the player is available. It's reported that he has a release clause of about 40 million euros. That should be a fair fee for such a decent right back. And I do think Manchester United fans, you should check him out in case it's a new name for you. Very, very decent right back in 𝐵𝐺𝐕 Frimpong. But besides Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, it has also been reported that Manchester City do hold some interest in the player. So clearly, it's going to be a bit of a stiff competition for Manchester United if they are really serious about landing the services of 𝐵𝐺𝐕 Frimpong. But now that takes you back to their managerial situation, because it will be interesting, because sometimes players are interested in knowing who their manager is going to be. It could be a factor. Maybe for some it may not be, or it's not entirely the factor, but oftentimes it's a question that comes up, especially with clubs that always linger with uncertainty, like the one that Manchester United find themselves with at the moment. Unsure whether it will be Ten Hag next season in charge or it will be somebody else. At centre back, they also need reinforcements. We all know that Rafael Varane has agreed to leave the club. Basically, it was the end of his contract. Manchester United decided not to renew his contract, perhaps thinking they can save some money because he's been on high wages and all that. He's been a decent player for Manchester United, although he has also struggled with quite a number of injuries ever since joining them from Real Madrid. So then that leaves them with Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, Willy Kambwala, who we all know is still a junior, and then Lisandro Martinez, who has struggled through injury throughout the course of last season, but very, very decent player. They would want to find a suitable partner for Lisandro Martinez to be the starter there in partnership. And on that note, therefore, they have identified Joan-Claire Dimitri Roger Todibo. Yes, the French defender at Nice is a wanted man at Manchester United. They are interested in signing Todibo from Nice. Again, he's also available for a fee of about 25 to 30 million pounds that they can land him on. But like I said, most of their ideal summer targets will have to face competition with other clubs, because other clubs are also interested in those very targets. And for Todibo, Manchester United will face competition reportedly from Aston Villa and Tottenham Hotspurs as the other two clubs that also have their sights on the Nice defender there. So clearly, if Manchester United were able to land the services of those three players in 𝐵𝐺𝐕 Frimpong, in Ryan Aït-Nouri, and Todibo in centre back, that could be quite a revamp as far as their defensive building is concerned. Moving on to their midfield is another position that they really need to strengthen. Despite 𝐵𝐈𝐄 Mainoo being quite the revelation of the season, we all know that he hasn't had that stable partnership in terms of who he plays with. Sometimes it's been with Bruno Fernandes joining the Jinx there in midfield. Sometimes it's been Christian Eriksen. On other days, it's been Scott McTominay. But then they think they need to find a more permanent solution for that, especially the number 8 role. On other times, it's been Casemiro. It's increasingly likely that Casemiro may stay at the club, although United are willing to listen to offers. It's reported that Saudi clubs are interested in the services of Casemiro, who also struggled through last season. He had his struggles, but then again, in my opinion, if you were to ask me, I think I would keep him for another year unless an undeniable offer came on the table so that he provides that maturity cover, because you can only send 𝐵𝐈𝐄 Mainoo, who is still a teenager, to do so much throughout the course of the campaign. But we all know Christian Eriksen has also struggled through injury ever since, that bad tackle that he was engaged in, I think, with Andy Carroll, and ever since then he has struggled for form. He's aged, of course. basically he's not the Christian Eriksen that we watched at Tottenham Hotspurs back in the days, or the one that was at Inter Milan. And so clearly they do need somebody in there. So, and on that note, therefore, they have identified an Ederson da Silva there, the Atalanta midfielder. He's a box-to-box player, very industrious. He has previously played for clubs like Corinthians in Brazil. He also did play for Salernitana last season, but one that's in the Italian Serie A, and he helped them avoid relegation last season. So he quickly switched things up and joined Atalanta. Although his start at Atalanta wasn't very promising, he eventually found his footing under the charges of Gian Piero Gasperini, and he has been quite the revelation. I know for most Manchester United fans, you may not know much about Ederson, but perhaps your rivals in Liverpool could tell you a word or two about the Brazilian international. 24 years of age, he was in that team that beat up against Liverpool by 3-0 at Anfield, as Liverpool were eventually knocked out of the Europa League. So, very, very decent player in there. And Manchester United is no strange place for Brazilian players. We all remember the twins, Fabio and Rafael da Silva. We all remember Anderson. I think he used to don 𝐄𝐍𝐶 8 and used to have not dreads, but at least his hair was twisted in a way. So Old Trafford is has been a home for some Brazilian players in the past. So Manchester United are interested in Atlanta's Ederson. And last summer, Atlanta did do business with Manchester United, and it wasn't the first time. I think the first time in recent times when Atlanta did business with Manchester United was when they were signing Amadou Diallo. Then they went last summer and signed Rasmus Højlund for about £72 million. So clearly, it shouldn't be too hard a deal to do for Atlanta and Manchester United for a fee that could be between 38 to 42 million pounds, according to reports there. Moving away from midfield, although I think they would still need somebody, an extra man, in addition to Ederson, if they were to land him. For now, that's their number one target. Moving away from that, moving to the forwards, they have identified, like I spoke previously, for those of you that have watched our content, that they are interested in the services of Michael Olise, the 22-year-old Crystal Palace forward there. Very, very sweet left foot, very industrious player, very athletic, very skillful, good at dribbling, good at shooting, good at set pieces. And for the Manchester United fans, or for those that have followed football long enough, especially the English Premier League, we all know that Manchester United are predominantly known for using wingers as their number one creative, as their primary channels of creativity. They use the wings, the number 7 and the number 11 traditionally, as we came to know it. Now we know it as the right wing, or the left wing, or left attacking midfield. The left attacking forward and the right attacking forward, whichever way you may slice it. So they do want Michael Olise to come and help Alejandro Garnacho in terms of progressing their wing play there. So they have of course, having signed a new contract last summer, it won't be an easy deal to do with Crystal Palace, but at the right fee, I do think that Manchester United can lure Michael Olise to Old Trafford. Very, very decent player. I do really admire the way he applies himself on the pitch. Away from Michael Olise, Manchester United, despite spending the £72 million last summer on Ryan Atonori, it is highly reported that they also want another striker. They do want another forward to help Rasmus Højlund put the goals in the back of the net, especially on the back of a season where Marcus Rashford has not really delivered on the goods. So clearly, they do want to strengthen in that department. And on that note, therefore, reports do suggest that they have their sights on Victor Osimhen from Napoli, although they are unwilling to pay his release clause. they think that's a fee a little too high for their reach at this stage. They also hold some interest in RB Leipzig. They also hold interest in RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, who is a target for Arsenal and Chelsea as well. Same applies for Victor Osimhen, because right now in European football, strikers or the typical strikers that we have come to know of are not so many. They're quite just a few. There's another one at Sporting Lisbon, I think called Victor Gorkais, there, who is also a target for a host of clubs. But although in recent times reports have increasingly reported that he is likely to stay at Sporting Lisbon. So should that situation change, be rest assured that we will be letting you know here at Football Tribe on those updates. Otherwise, that's it as far as Manchester United's ideal targets for the summer go. It's not to say that it's cast in stone that those are the only ones they are stuck onto. As we all know, clubs do a lot of scouting work, and usually they have a list of about 3 to 5 players that they would want to sign, but those are in the orders of maybe priority orders, that this should be our number one target. Should that fail, we will go to plan B and perhaps a plan C. So hoping it doesn't come to that, that's the list. Those are the players that Manchester United would want to sign. However, if you do hear reports that there are other names in the mix of Manchester United's transfer targets, do not be really surprised, because the transfer business is a tricky one. Sometimes the player you want is also wanted by other. We all know that route. We all know that 𝐓𝐾𝐒 could have ended up at Manchester United, but he ended up playing for Chelsea. We all know Willian Boguesta Silva was destined for a Tottenham move, but eventually ended up at Chelsea. We all know Joan Manuel Mata, as he was leaving Valencia, was destined for a move to Arsenal, but on the last minute things changed and he ended up at Chelsea. So all those things do happen in the transfer window. So do not be surprised if you hear that perhaps it's no longer Ryan Achinory that you would want to sign for that left back role, or whether it's not Jeremy Frimpong that you now want to sign for the right back role, among others. Otherwise, that's it for me. Robert 𝐾 is the usual suspect. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.